Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Trev and this is Poshcats Camping. Well, first of all you need to take your extendable pole, which was stored in the boot of Smurf, and I usually extend it just a little bit by turning the little clamp there, pull it out about a foot in old money, and that makes it long enough then to reach. And you've got a little T-shaped mechanism on the end there which goes up into the little hole on the top, and I'll show you. Now, as you can see, it's always best to close the motorhome or caravan door. Now, it's good to stop at this point. You're around about halfway and the weight is all hanging on the main side of the van and it's hanging down. It needs some support, so I'm going to drop the legs down. Now I'm going to get my pole and wind the awning fully out. So you'll notice that I angled the legs slightly in the outward direction and then rolled the canopy out. Now I have shortened the legs slightly, but with the little clips you can shorten them or lengthen them depending on how level the ground is. And I've made them so it's pretty level, and there's a bit of an angle, a bit of a drop on the front, so if we do get any rain it's going to run straight off. The thing to do now is to tie them down. Now we're on the drive at home here, as you could probably see, and so I'm limited as to what I can do. It's a very still day, so for the purpose of this demonstration I'm literally going to leave it as it is, just for the few minutes that we're doing this. Now there are three manufacturers. The three main manufacturers of these types of canopies are Thule, spelled Thule, T-H-U-L-E, or Fiamma, or even the Dometic company now are making very similar canopies. The products are very similar indeed. The mechanics of them are pretty much the same. They're slightly different in their design, but essentially they're on the side of your motorhome or camper van, and they roll out to provide you shade and protection from the rain, really. The dangers are, of course, high winds and very wet. So the very thing that they're there to protect you from, they're also susceptible to as well. And one of the things that we've noticed over the years, people with these, you can even have them fitted to caravans. You have a certain type of a rollout canopy that will fold up and stay in the awning rail of a caravan whilst you're driving along. They're a similar style to that, but of course these are permanently fixed on the van. Now, the thing that we have noticed over the years, as I was saying, is that people put them up and they expect them to stay up for the fortnight or the whole week or even a couple of days, and the weather won't change. Well, we live in Britain and the weather is changing all of the time. So even the slightest wind, 10 to 15 miles an hour, these things can can start to lift, and if they're not fixed down properly, they can really start rattling around and cause a danger. We've seen on our rally fields and out in the campsites a number of times where these canopies the wind will get under them, and they'll rip the caravan canopy up and way over, and it lands on the wrong side of the van. So the bar that's at the front ends up damaging the other side of the van. You think that's not possible? We've seen it, and it does happen. And it happens under certain conditions when the wind's in the wrong direction, and it will just gust, and all of a sudden it's gone. It happens in seconds, trust me. So the key thing with these is to make sure that they're fixed down. I've got 3 options that I've used over the years. 1, to save money, 2, to be very resourceful, and 3, to use the proper official fix down kits that are provided by the people that make these canopies. The first type of fixing kit, if you like, is to have some good solid rope. Now, my father-in-law, may rest in peace, was very frugal. He was a kind of guy that would make good use of anything in his shed or garage, and these belonged to him, and he passed them on to me when he didn't need them anymore. And what we've got is 2 pieces of rope that have been cut and sealed off at the ends with some electrical tape. This is just as he made them, and they're long enough to unwind. I'll do that now. And then you simply have 2 pieces of rope, and I would say they're probably about, that's halfway, they're about 4 meters long. Okay. So what we would do with them is to simply loop them over the top here, tie a reef knot or any other kind of granny knot that you can tie, depending on your ability, and go round the pole and round the top part of the canopy here, and then simply tie that down to the ground, and do the same at the other end. Okay. Now, some of these canopies do have, and I'll show you just the under. If I swing the tripod round, you can see here that there's 2 poles, or 2 rafters, if you like. This arm here is the arm that comes out, and there's another one the other side, and they fold into the rail which is fixed to the van up there. That's all there is to it, really, with a few cables that are inside these arms to ensure that they pull back evenly when you're winding at the other end. I think you see what I mean, don't you? With the winder, the cables pull these bars in, and the whole mechanism pulls in flat against the van, as you saw right at the start. Now, some of these canopies do have a centre rafter as well, which clips in, and it's like an awning pole that you'd have with a tent, and it's in 2 parts. You fix the 2 parts together, and they're sprung so that you could fix one end to the van end and one end into the underside here. There we are, just in here, halfway. You can fix a pole in there, and that stops this fabric from dancing about in the wind. This one doesn't have that. Instead, we have 2 little angle brackets, and I'll show you those, and this is supposed to stabilize the structure once the wind starts moving it around. I'll show you that now. They're 2 little pieces of angle which come off and on a hinge, and then they clip onto here, and they clip into place on a ratchet here. So if you've got the canopy out fully, there's a bit about 3 or 4 inches, about 100 mil there of ratchet, so that you can clip it on depending on how the awning is. So that's very important to put that one, and there's the same at the other end as well. Now, the second type of tie down is, to save you money, is to use a set of these. Now, these are a couple of guide ropes. They're straps actually that come from an old awning that we've had in the past. A drive away that we had, made by Outdoor Revolution. I'm just trying to untangle them because they've got a bit tangled up. There's two of them, and I've actually tied a knot in this one because it was too long. But again, it's a little bit make do, but at the top it does have this situation where you've got the clips, so you can clip that round the top. I'll show you how to do that. We did it like that somehow. Yeah, there we are. So you can go around the top of the pole and again pin that down to the ground, like so. Now I've got a series of different pins and rock nails and plastic pegs and angle pegs and all sorts of storm straps, and over the years, you know, you try them all, and some work, some don't, and so what, really. But these ones, I got 8 ground pegs here from Halfords, and I don't remember how much they were, but they weren't very expensive. And these are quite long. They're 25 centimetre pegs. So what's that? It's almost a foot long, isn't it? But they're a good substantial rock peg with a plastic top, and they're pretty good. And they can also, should have mentioned earlier, when you're putting the feet down, you've got the legs in position. The feet have 2 little holes in the bottom, which you can peg your legs down to the ground with. So it's really important that you do that on both sides and angle it so that the awning won't fly up in the air. And the final solution for holding down your awning is the official one. This one is the Thule tie down kit. It's the hold down side strap kit, and these come out at between 30 and 40 pounds, and they are worth it really. But if you're on a budget, you could use the other methods that I showed you just now. So in the box here comes a waterproof bag, and inside the bag there's a number of things in here. There's a number of these wide straps and springs, okay, a couple of springs which you can tension, and they stop the canopy, or give a little bit of give, if you like, on the canopy guy ropes. You've also got 2 very substantial storm pegs which go in the ground with a hole in the top. Okay, there's a reason for that hole. That's where the spring goes, and then you tie your tie downs to that. Still rummaging in the bag here. And here are the straps that you would use for which go into the end of the awning here, and then down to your peg and your spring on the other end. I think there's something else in the bag, I'll just check. Another strap as well. Okay, so the idea then is that this goes into here. Get it up the right way. There we go. That goes into here, and then you've got this part of the strap, and you feed the other section in here, and you can lengthen or shorten with the bracket halfway up so that you can get the angle and get a good position in the ground. So then, where did it go so very wrong? Well, and what we've forgotten were these 2 little cross angles. Now our earlier models, just if you can see that there, the earlier models of the canopies like this that we've had didn't have these. This seems to be a new design. So what you have to do is to pull a little tab here and separate them there, and they fold back into the main body, like that. They just clip in to the main body of the awning so that they're tucked away when you roll it back. I'd forgotten to do that on one of them because I was distracted. I'd forgotten that I'd only taken one of these off, and the one at the other end there was still, the angle was still attached to the main part of the awning. Started winding the awning up, and of course this end, let me show you. There's the bar, you see. Now this end bar here, which has a knuckle in it halfway up, Don't know if you can see that there. This, here they are, look. This bit here, which has a knuckle like an elbow in it with two pieces of the arm. This part here started to bend, and I didn't even realise at this point it was bending, but it got like a boomerang shape going on, and I was still, I think that's a bit stiff. And of course, the more I turned at that end with the winder, the more I was bending this pole. And it's all about the law of physics and so on. But it was a nasty mess. And Sue said, "Whoa, hold on, it's not folding back properly." And of course I stopped and had a look, and this is what I found. So then was the total disaster, because I didn't think I would be able to roll the awning up with the bent arm so that I could drive the van. So I had to roll it out to how it was initially, and then try and bend this bent arm back into a straight line. And of course it's aluminium, it snapped and broken, and more or less broke in half. So then the best thing I could do really was to try and roll it into the van with Sue's guidance. And we had a stall out that we were standing on, and we were trying inch by inch getting it back into the side of the van so that we could drive, and that was the best we could do. So the moral of the story really is to take your time, don't take risks, get help and tie it down. You know, the four real important tips I can give you about these canopies. They have a mind of their own, trust me. You think the weather is calm, and within an hour or two things can change, and it might be just a safe bet to put your canopy away. And there it is, all snug as a bug, back on the side of the van, as it should be. Now can you imagine how we felt when we got a broken canopy that we couldn't use? All through the summer of 2022 we couldn't use our canopy for shade, or for when people come round to sit under and enjoy coffee and, you know, cake and things that we do, and a few beers. But it was completely useless. Now this is the point in the video that I want to give a shout out and explain how we got it all fixed. The shout out is for our friends at Sharman Caravans. They're just down the road from us here, not more than half a mile from where we live, and their business has been running since the mid-70s. And Barry Sharman set up the business selling predominantly caravans in the 1970s and 80s. His son Paul and his son now Ben are both in the business, and they have the franchise for Coachman Caravans. They also sell these little beauties that you can see here, the little T6 camper vans. They're made specifically for Sharman, and we walk past there regularly because we live nearby, and they're in and out, different colours, different styles, different specifications, and really are some smart little campers in there. As well as the sales of vehicles and caravans, they have a really well stocked accessories shop, reasonably priced, and if they haven't got quite what you need, they'll always look in the catalogue and see if they can source what you need. Miles from anywhere, we didn't know anyone in the area where we were camping, and so I rang the Sharman's phone number, and Ben picked up. He says, "Don't worry about it," he says, "you're not the first and you won't be the last." And immediately the weight lifted from my shoulders. He said, "We've fitted one of these already this season, we've had to repair one, and next time you're near the workshops, just drop in, we'll have a look at it and see if it's possible to repair the awning. We had immediately thought that this was going to be a £1,200 fix. The actual canopies themselves are more than £800–900 if you buy them, and the prices, you know what the prices of these things are like, they're going up and up and up at the moment. So we suspect that it would have been £1,000 minimum to have the old one taken off and a new one put in place. And at the time it was only 6 months, 8 months old, so we didn't really want to replace it with a new one just because we'd bent one arm and broken one arm. I did go to Sharman's. They got Paul from the workshop to come and have a look, and he said, yeah, we can give that a go. So they attempted to source a part. The first one that came was the wrong part. The second one that came was exactly the right part, and it was fixed in January this year. So it took a good while to get that part. You know what the supply chains have been like. It's been tricky. But last month we finally got this fix done, and they called us in the workshop, and the same day they got it all fixed and done, and for under £300. Now to me that's a saving of 700 quid. I mean, what a silly boy I was to break it in the first place, and what good advice from a local supplier to ask me just to be patient. I can't be patient, it's not in my nature. I want it fixed now, but to be patient and take time and just think about this. And that was the advice that Ben and Paul from Sharman's gave me, and thank goodness they did. So the other day I went along to see Paul and thanked him, shook his hand, and I got him a little thank you present, and he was very chuffed. We got him a dozen mugs with his own logo and whatnot. My friend John created those for us, thank you John, and we presented them to Paul and his team as a thank you for, well, what a relief, you know, it's nice to have it all back up and running. So here we are, summer's on its way, and we've now got a canopy. The latest news is that we are now looking for an awning to fit to the canopy, and we'll bring you more news about that in the coming weeks. We have ordered something, we're just waiting for it to be delivered. But yes, you guessed it, there's a delay. Who would have thought? So until next time, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this disaster that turned into a happy ending. And thanks to Paul and the team at Sharman's Caravans.